To play under the bright lights of Madison Square Garden and become a hero in one of the sport's toughest media markets is a dream that many have tried and failed to achieve. Jalen Brunson is not one of those people. The undersized point guard was doubted through every stage of his career, but you can't keep someone with his talent and work ethic down for so long. Having grown up in the Knicks locker room as a kid, Brunson's rise to stardom now as a player is the perfect full circle story, with plenty more chapters still to write. This is how the NBA's most underrated player became a Knicks superstar. This video is powered by BetUS, our sponsor all season long for Knicks Media. Don't miss out on their limited time offer of a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% on your next two. This is up to $2,000 and it can be accessed with the code YouTube150 on betus.com.pa. There's no two ways about it. Jalen Brunson has had things pretty good. Growing up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, he was surrounded by basketball from a young age. His father, Rick Brunson, was a player who bounced around various teams in the NBA, including a stint with the New York Knicks, where his son Jalen began to take note. The younger Brunson was always around the team and known to all, which meant it was only a matter of time before he wanted to go out and get some shooting points himself. So, when his father became a coach, Jalen had the perfect situation to set him on a path to greatness. The father-son Brunson duo would train 3 times a week while he was in middle school, upgrading this to daily sessions when he started at Stevenson High School in Illinois. So unsurprisingly, having a former NBA player as a father and personal coach paid off, helping him enjoy a stellar high school career in which he broke several school records, won a state championship, was named the Gatorade Player of the Year twice, and was named Illinois' Mr. Basketball. His reward for all of that was a 5-star recruitment rating and a scholarship offer from a very good Villanova basketball program. Fresh off a 33-3 record and a final ranking as the second best team in the nation, the Villanova Wildcats were in the hunt for NCAA tournament success in Brunson's freshman season. In 2015-16, as one of the nation's top recruits, there was pressure on Brunson to deliver against a tougher competition. But he did at least benefit from joining a very talented Wildcat roster that allowed him to play a more complementary role. Despite being a freshman, he still averaged the 5th most time on the court with 24 minutes per game. And what a perfect learning experience that was, as the Wildcats stormed to the national championship game where they defeated the North Carolina Tar Heels 77-74. In limited action, Brunson had proven himself as a capable player, earning himself a much more prominent role moving forward. As a sophomore, he posted the 2nd most points per game with 14.7 and led the team in assists with 4.1 per game, laying the foundations for what would be his best ever campaign as a junior. The departure of Josh Hart to the NBA before the 2017 season had cleared the way for Jalen Brunson to become the Wildcats' go-to guy, and he thrived under the spotlight. Villanova went unbeaten through the first 13 games, with Brunson averaging a career-high 18.9 points and 4.6 assists per game, which both led the team. It was top-tier basketball, and the things only improved in the pressure cooker that is the NCAA tournament. It didn't matter who tried to block their path to the title. Villanova easily swept everyone out of the way. Alabama, West Virginia, Texas Tech, and eventually Michigan in the national championship game all fell to the Wildcats' scoring machine by at least 10 points. It was an incredible season for Villanova, and Jalen Brunson was the driving force of the team, firmly establishing himself as one of the best in the college game. In addition to winning his 2nd national title, Brunson won almost every award possible, being named the consensus first-team All-American, in addition to winning the Naismith College Player of the Year award, the John Wooden Award, and the AP Player of the Year award, and several others. That is how you go out with a bang. The next step was the NBA draft. You would think that being a leader on the best college team in the nation and winning every award under the sun would put you in pretty good stead with the NBA scouts and draft analysis. Well, not quite. Brunson was mainly marked down because of his height, with analysts not believing that he had the elite quickness and athleticism required to make a 6'2" player impactful at the next level. There's no doubt that he was a good distributor and a player who could score from almost anywhere on the court, but his small stature and lack of athleticism was perceived as a potential liability on the defensive end, with teams easily forcing switches to get advantage, and Brunson would, in theory, be vulnerable, and the team could pay as a result. The other factor working against Jalen Brunson was that the 2018 NBA draft was stacked full of talent, which combined with the concerns surrounding his athleticism meant there was not a lot of room for the reigning Naismith College Player of the Year. He even had to watch as 3 of his Villanova teammates were selected ahead of him in the first round. Thankfully for Jalen, he didn't have to wait too long in the second round, with the Dallas Mavericks using the 33rd overall pick on the man from Villanova. This partnered Brunson up with the Mavs' first-round pick, Luka Doncic, kickstarting a formidable 2018 rookie class for Dallas. The knocks on Brunson's height and athleticism meant that many draft analysts had pegged him as more of a rotational piece. With a relatively low ceiling, landing on the same team as Luka Doncic certainly seemed to resign him on his status, especially when you consider that Dallas had used their previous year's first-round selection on a point guard as well in Dennis Smith Jr. Therefore, Brunson had to make do with limited playing time, which is exactly what he did. Despite averaging only 21 minutes per game, Brunson logged 9.3 points and 3.2 assists per game, with the latter ranking as the 4th most in the team for that category. Brunson's rookie season was all about capitalizing on opportunities whenever they materialized, and in doing so, he quickly earned a reputation as a reliable sixth man. When Luka Doncic had to miss a game in February against the Denver Nuggets, Jalen started and promptly knocked down 22 points and 5 assists in 31 minutes of action. When Dennis Smith Jr. couldn't play against the Indiana Pacers 5 days later, Brunson once again thrived in the starting lineup, hitting a career-high 24 points to go along with 5 more assists, 3 steals, and 3 rebounds. 34 more points against the Spurs confirmed that Dallas had found themselves 2 exceptional rookies, that the future was going to be extremely bright. Unfortunately, a shoulder injury knocked Brunson out of the second half of his sophomore campaign, but he bounced back to set a career high in year 3 with 12.6 points, 3.5 assists, and 3.4 rebounds per game. It was another impressive year for Brunson, but a very underwhelming set of performances in the conference quarterfinals meant that Dallas were reluctant to commit to him long-term. In their eyes, he had not played well enough to earn a contract extension, but they did bring him back on the 4th-year option. As it turned out, the Dallas Mavericks had just made a huge mistake. Before we cover the story of Jalen Brunson in the NBA, let's talk about some sports betting. My go-to for that is BetUS. Once you're in, you'll easily find all of the pregame markets, parlays, and prop bets that you need. You even get 10% back on your net losses twice a year. So let's win some money. If I want to bet on the NBA, I just click on the basketball tab on the left, click on NBA Championship, and I find the bet that I like. I'm going to go for the New York Knicks, so click on the number and specify your wager. $50 sounds good. Let's click place my bets, click confirm, and there you go. Pretty easy, right? During the 2021-22 NBA season, Brunson's 4th year in the league, he took things to a new level. The lack of a long-term deal had lit a fire under the underappreciated point guard, and he let his feelings be known. A new career high 16.2 points, 4.8 assists, and 3.9 rebounds per game helped propel the Mavericks to 4th place in the Western Conference. Just as he had done in his final year as a Villanova Wildcat, Brunson saved his best for the postseason, and the Mavs would need it because Doncic was set to miss the first 3 games of their opening playoff series. In his absence, Brunson went berserk against the Utah Jazz, landing a combined 96 points against them over 3 games. This was highlighted by the superb 41 and 8 rebound and 5 assist outing in game number 2, which was the Mavs' first win of the series. When Luka returned, the combination of the 2 stars of the 2018 draft class was too much for Phoenix to handle. Before Dallas unfortunately fell to the Golden State Warriors in the conference finals, it was a tough way for the season to end. But with the Warriors going on to win the whole thing, the Mavs could at least take comfort in the fact that they lost to the very best. Jalen averaged 21 points per game throughout that playoff stretch, consequently sending his price tag soaring. Now in the hunt for a new deal, the Mavs were kicking themselves for not locking up their superstar sooner. But for Brunson, things just happened to fall into place perfectly. You see, around the same time that Jalen Brunson was fielding offers from other NBA teams, his father Rick was signed as an assistant to the New York Knicks coaching staff. With Brunson already back at Madison Square Garden, it was only a matter of time before the other to join the fun. Prior to the 2022 season, Jalen Brunson signed a 4-year, $104 million contract with the New York Knicks. At the time, Knicks fans were in desperate need of a savior, having endured only 1 playoff appearance in the last 9 seasons. It was an offseason of change for the Knicks, and Brunson's arrival was meant to bring stability and scoring prowess to the roster. It's fair to say he did just that. In his first season as a New York Knick, Brunson set new career highs with 24 points, 6.2 assists to go along with 3.5 rebounds per game. With him completely re-energizing the team and unlocking the untapped potential of his teammates, the Knicks got back to the winning ways, posting a 47-35 record that propelled them up in the standings to the 5th seed in the East, having been placed 11th the year before. Most importantly, though, the Knicks' regular season earned them a playoff berth, where Brunson once again found his best. He averaged 24 points per game in a straightforward 4-1 series victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers, giving the Knicks fans their first taste of a playoff victory since 2012. Unfortunately, a very good Miami Heat team put an end to the run 1 week later, but they had to ward off a magnificent effort from Brunson in the process. Jalen closed out with a 2-4 series loss, with 3 games for over 44 minutes played and scoring 32 points, 38 points, and 41 in each game. There would be no postseason celebration for the Knicks that year, but the Jalen Brunson had proven that he was the impact player that the New York Knicks was looking for when they signed him to his big contract. As you may have noticed by now, there is a trend in Jalen Brunson's career that has seen him improve every year. His second season with New York was no different, once again setting new career highs, 35.4 minutes played per game, producing 28.7 points, 6.7 assists, and 3.6 rebounds per game. The former second-rounder was thriving under the brightest lights of the New York sports media market and fully taking advantage of his role as the focal point of the Knicks. It was a scoring frenzy type of season for Jalen Brunson during that 2023-24 campaign, posting his first 50-point outing against Phoenix, only to blow that out of the water with an insane 61-point performance against the Spurs. He tied a record for the most 30-point games in a single season with 36, and also tied an NBA record for the most 3-point shots made in a single season without a miss with 9. Unsurprisingly, New York once again made it to the playoffs, where a tougher 76ers side was waiting for them. Joel Embiid was back in the mix to make things harder for the Knicks, but Jalen wasn't going to let that bother him. After going up 2-1 in that series, Brunson had 3 consecutive 40-point games to close out and win the series. As if that wasn't enough, he then kicked off the conference semifinals against the Indiana Pacers with another 43 points, setting a new NBA record for consecutive playoff games with 40-plus points and 5-plus assists. Unfortunately, despite some of their stellar performances from Brunson, the Knicks were once again sent home in the Eastern Conference semifinals. It was another tough way to close the season, but the back-to-back playoff runs reflect a new era of New York basketball. And for Brunson, that 2023-24 season brought newfound glory on an individual level. For the first time in his 6-year career, he made the NBA All-Star team, and the emotion he showed in his first interview discussing it in Madison Square Garden showed just how much that meant to him. Jalen Brunson was always underappreciated and overlooked, from dropping to the second round to not getting the second deal with the Mavs, but nothing could get him down. And when you combine his immense talent with the relentless work ethic he learned from his father, you get a true superstar. New York is the perfect place for a talent like Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson is exactly what the New York Knicks needed. Here's to him getting the NBA title he deserves soon. What have you made of Jalen Brunson's career so far, and who would you like us to dig into next? Let us know in the comments section which Knick player you'd like us to talk about next. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Once again, if you'd like to sign up, don't forget to use the promo code YouTube150 to sign up when you make your account. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Peace.